are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Larck. I will take on Twitter here to talk to you today in and about Auburn football as we get ready for this Week 7 matchup versus the Georgia Bulldogs as they walk into Jordan-Hare Stadium for a night game on the Plains. Now, sold out crowd already, as many of you already know. I mean, again, it's talked about like every week at this point. The Jordan-Hare has another sellout, which I think it's like 17 games in a row. 17 games of fans showing up, showing their support, and Auburn letting them down not so gently. So, why is this game such a big deal? Well, if you've been on Twitter, if you've been on Instagram, or you've been on any social media platform where people talk about Auburn football, you will know that there is a giant arrow pointing right at Hugh Freeze, a giant target on the back of Hugh Freeze and his approach to this game. Now, I have already said before on the last episode that I don't think losing to Georgia will cost Hugh Freeze's job, but I definitely think what you do in this game and how you perform next week versus Missouri has a major implication on how much longer you stay tenured for Auburn University. Now, let's go with some backstory for this game. All right. As many of you know, I am engaged to a Georgia fan. And ever since we've been together, I have not watched Auburn beat Georgia. I've actually not watched Auburn beat Georgia since 2017. I was a senior in high school when I last saw Georgia lose to Auburn. And then a couple weeks later, I watched them beat Auburn despite all of that in the SEC Championship. I went through Wikipedia because I was curious, but how many times since I've been alive has Auburn beaten Georgia? And the answer is 7. I'm 25 years old. All right. So if you take 25 and you take 7 from it, that's 18. 18 years of my life, whether I was conscious for it or not, Georgia has beaten Auburn. It does not matter what year it is, how good Auburn is, how good Georgia is. It has always seemed like Georgia has had Auburn's number. And that has extremely been the case with Kirby Smart's tenure. Even in the year Auburn beat Kirby Smart, he still found a way to come back from the dead and beat Auburn in the SEC Championship. And again, all-time win record here. Auburn is behind by 9 wins. And again, what really helps with that is the fact that Georgia's on an 8-game win streak versus Auburn. And that's absolutely ridiculous to be talking about. That Auburn has their second biggest rival, and they're unable to beat them. I mean, they've at least beaten Alabama since 2019. And hang that banner, I guess. But there's a perfect storm around this game and the implications this game could have on the future of Auburn going forward. 6:30 p.m. kick in Jordan-Hare is outstanding for this game. This is a big game that needs a big moment around it. And the fans are going to be there. The fans are going to be representing. Because all throughout this week, we've been hearing, last time Auburn had a night game in Jordan-Hare Stadium where Georgia showed up, that was the prayer Jordan-Hare. You know, Nick Marshall, 4th and long, throws a absolute bomb down the field that was underthrown, tipped up, and caught by Ricardo Lewis miraculously and gave Auburn the win, especially after D. Ford slammed Aaron Murray into the ground. So that's playing into the factor here. What's also playing into this factor is Cam Newton's jersey retirement at halftime. It's also an orange out. I'm also wearing my Cam Newton jersey, which they don't make him an orange yet, but you know, what if the team runs out in orange? Then we're good because Orange Uni's coming soon. And the big question here is, you look at last week. Auburn was on a bye week last week, and one of the big questions is how much different is the offense going to look with 2 weeks to prepare for Georgia? Well, you look at last week. Florida was able to take a bye week and take down Penn State. UCLA had 2 days of practice with their new interim head coach and was able to take down Penn State. And I think I said Penn State twice. Florida took down Texas, and then UCLA took down Penn State. There we go. And the big question is, why not Auburn? Why can't Auburn get an upset like this? 2 weeks to prepare. You should be able to come up with a great strategy there to at least take that first half and roll along with it. But the issue is Auburn has not proven to be able to do that ever since. I can't even think of the year. Last time Auburn was really any good to where this was a case was 2019. And again, we just not seen it in the Hugh Freeze era where we've seen a bye week or extra time being utilized to where the game plan looks that much different. And I just look at this game and everything about it just screams upset. But then I look at the field, I look at the stats, and I have a whole sheet of stats that I'm going to go over in just a second, because statistically Auburn should lose this game, and by just sheer brain power, Auburn should lose this game, because they've not proven that they can do the competent things that a team should be able to do. And this is where I'm going to kind of get into my keys here, my key matchups. Auburn's got to figure out what is the deal with their offense. We know what it is, but do they know what it is? And I hear Hugh Freeze talk about how your left tackle has a hearing problem and he can't understand the plays in loud environments. Well, guess what? This is going to be the loudest environment he has played in this year. I guarantee you at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in Auburn, Alabama, inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium, Xavier Chaplin is going to be in the on midfield listening to the loudest crowd he has probably ever listened to in his college career. Because, man, I love Virginia Tech, but Enter Sandman isn't going to be louder than 85,000+ Auburn fans going crazy in the stands. You got to fix those issues. You got 2 weeks to do it. And it just baffles me that we're sitting here in year 3 and we are year 3, game 6, and Auburn has yet to have established an identity offensively with an offensive-minded head coach, with 3 play callers, with a staff built around him that on paper is pretty daggum good. Marcus Davis right now is the only offensive coach that I'm like, you know what? If Hugh gets fired, put all your chips in and keep Marcus Davis on this staff. The wide receivers have been showing up. They're just not getting the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and get to my matchups. I need to rearrange the matchups, the players to watch. I do the matchups first. But my first matchup is Hugh Freeze versus his own hubris. If that's a vocab word for you, hubris means pride, his arrogance. Hugh Freeze has been in his own way since he has gotten on the plains. And things haven't really changed. Last year, everyone was fussing. Run the football. You have Jarquez Hunter. Run the football. I get you have KLS. Get him the ball too. But your focus should be running the football. And it wasn't until that Kentucky game where it was like, oh, maybe Jarquez Hunter should run the football. And it worked. But then guess what? You backed out of it. And look, you're telling me that Auburn should run the football. Auburn should commit to running the football. I'm going to read you the stats for it. Here's why Auburn should be running the football, all right? I'm going to read you Auburn's offensive stats. Passing offense, Auburn is 112th in the nation. Scoring offense, Auburn is 76th in the nation. Total offense is 106th. Third down percentage is 117th. And sacks allowed 134th. And if you don't know if you can, I'll give you all a second here. Little Affleck trivia question. How many teams are in FBS? Give you a second. 134. Auburn is 134th in sacks allowed. So why should Auburn pass? Why should Auburn be running the football? Because their offensive line, because their quarterback is not making the right throws, the right plays. You got to run the football. Commit to the run game like you've been saying you were going to do for so long at this point. I didn't read the rushing yards per game. Auburn is 59th. And again, there's some big games here that are not playing into a part here for this offensive stat. What's playing into Auburn being 59th in rushing offense is not because they're struggling to run the football and they're the 59th best team about running it. They're the 59th best team about making sure their running backs are getting the football. Auburn should be in the top 20 rushing offense. But because the quarterback, because the coach will not get out of their own way, Auburn is unable to commit to the run game. And again, that plays into the hubris factor here. I get it. You got dudes on the outside. You find a way to get them the football. But from my common knowledge of football, since I've been watching it all my life, if I'm not mistaken, if you run the football, it will open up the passing game. It will open up the RPO. It'll open up the play action. You know what doesn't help open up those? Doing them all of the time. Putting yourself in third and long situations. Putting yourself in these impossible to gain the first down plays. Because you're not running the football on first down, on second down. When it's, good Lord, was it, now it's blanking, Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Oklahoma game. I saw 3rd and 1. And again, I'm probably mixing the two up. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas A&M pretty much wear the same two colors. But regardless, it was the issue in both games. 3rd and 1, I watched Auburn pass the ball. Okay, cool. Well, incompletion. 4th and 1, you're averaging over 4 yards a carry. Maybe, just maybe, run it here. 4th and 1, you pass the ball, incomplete pass, Auburn turns over the ball. If you're going to constantly tell me you're going to commit to the run game, you need to commit to the run game. And believe me, if Auburn finds a way to have changed this entire offense to where the run game is not needed, the passing game is just that on fire that it's working so well, then that's fine. Then that proves to me you were able to coach your team correctly. But if I have to sit here and watch that offensive performance again, because I saw the past 2 games, I will be officially off the, give him time. He will have earned a hot seat. He will have earned that buyout check if he is unable to get out of the way and let his team do what they do best. This O-line isn't made to pass block. They've proven it. Run the ball. And again, that brings me to my next one. This Auburn offensive line versus Georgia. And so let me throw this out there again. So yeah, I mentioned earlier, Auburn is 134th in sacks allowed out of 134 FBS teams. Again, last in the country. Auburn is allowing 4.2 sacks per game. Now let's flip it over to Georgia. Georgia is 108th in the country in sacks, defensive sacks. Georgia is not the Georgia of yesteryear. Georgia is not the team that they were just a few short years ago when they had guys like Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. They're not getting to the quarterback like that. They still have guys like C.J. Allen who were pretty daggone good, but they don't have those guys like they used to. They don't have these big these big monster defensive linemen who are getting to the quarterback, who are making it tough. And the issue with this game is I feel like Auburn's offensive line is in a prime position to let Georgia wake up. They're in a prime position to let Georgia's defensive line figure out that, oh, wait, maybe we are good enough to do this. We just needed a confidence booster, a cupcake, if you will, of an offensive line. And that's what Auburn's offensive line has been thus far this season. I mean, we're talking about an offensive line that gave up 5 sacks to Ball State, 9 sacks to Oklahoma, 4 sacks to Texas A&M. You have got to protect the quarterback. You cannot let Georgia somehow weasel their way in to having a good pass rush or a good-looking pass rush against you. Your offensive line has talent. Mason Murphy has talent. Xavier Chaplin has talent. That's why they're paying so much NIL money to have gotten them. But you cannot tell me if I turn on the game on Saturday and I watch Xavier Chaplin get beat around the edge one more time, it's not a hearing problem. It's not a hearing problem. It's a talent problem. It's a coaching problem. It's a player problem. Auburn's offensive line cannot allow Georgia to establish a pass rush. They haven't done it yet. They have not done it yet. 1.4 sacks per game for Georgia. That is, if you get rid of the decimals and just go with the 4 and the 1, that's four. Auburn's allowing 4 times the amount of sacks that Georgia is able to get. So it's bad versus bad. But it comes down to who got coached better throughout the week. And believe me, nothing has proven to me that Auburn is going to be that team. And my next matchup, kind of keeping it, flipping both sides of the ball here. Auburn's front 7 versus Georgia's run game. Again, Georgia has 2 very talented running backs, Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier. They are going to want to run the football. Unlike Auburn, Mike Bobo actually has figured out what his offense is good at, and that's running the dang ball. Auburn's front 7, Auburn's defense has been pretty decent about stopping the run this year. And by pretty decent, I mean really good. So again, I'm looking at the stats here. So right now, Georgia is 26th in the nation in rushing offense. Auburn is 17th in rush defense. Auburn's only allowing 88 yards per game when it comes to stopping the run. So it's going to come down to those guys up front. You know, Auburn's defense has adapted to the bend, don't break mentality. But with Georgia and with how your offense has looked and how scary it seems for this offense, you're going to have to not bend quite so much. You're going to have to make sure you are locking them up. And believe me, Gunnar Stockton can make mistakes. If you force Gunnar Stockton to have to win this game for him, I think Auburn can find a way to score a couple of touchdowns defensively. Because again, I don't know if the offense can score those. So it comes down to Auburn's defense is going to be a massive player here in this game. And again, I'm looking at the full offense and defense here. I mean, Georgia's offense, still very good. 66 passing offense, but they've still averaged their turnover margin is still in the negative. They're giving the ball up more than they're getting it back. Again, that scoring offense, they're 43rd in the country. They're 61st in red zone offense. They're 35th in total offense. Third down percentage, they're 30th. You're going to have to find a way to make sure Georgia does not get in these third and shorts, these second and shorts, because they're just going to hand the ball off. And if you're allowing these running backs to make some space for themselves, they're going to take advantage of that. Georgia's a very talented football team. It's the best. I would say it's the best team Auburn's played all year, but I think that loss to Alabama kind of knocked them out of that race. But again, this is still a team that Auburn should be looking out for. And then my last one here, Cam Coleman versus KJ Bolden. And I kind of just turned this into the Auburn wide receiver versus the secondary. But I wanted to point out these two in general. So again, I'm telling you, Auburn needs to commit to the run game. And if you commit to the run game enough, you'll open up the passing game. And hopefully you've honed in your abilities enough to where it starts to work. But again, as I mentioned earlier, Auburn's passing offense, 112th. Auburn's explosive tendencies this season have been god-awful. Auburn was more explosive last year with Peyton Thorne than they have been with Jackson Arnold. And that is something I never thought I would say out loud. But I'm looking at Georgia's defense here, 86th in passing defense. They're giving up over 230 passing yards per game. That they are not the team of, again, the past. They are a team that are susceptible to the deep ball. Tennessee took advantage of it. Alabama took advantage of it. And despite the records, talent-wise, Auburn's on par with both of those teams, especially in the wide receiver department. Quarterbacks, not so much. But you got to find a way to get the ball to your receivers. If you can find a weak spot in this Georgia defense, it's going to be making those big plays finally happen that we've been waiting to see ever since the start of the year. But again, I find it impossible for Auburn to open those up without actually starting to commit to the run game. I probably want to see a run-pass offense. Like as simplistic as you could possibly get, run-pass. Because, again, I understand Georgia is the 13th rushing defense in the country. Maybe this is not the game to commit to the run game, but you've been talking about it too much that it's impossible for you to avoid it now. This should be the most potent run game Georgia has played against all season long. Jeremiah Cobb has proven to be able to make it through tight holes and with his burst of speed, make big plays happen. Let him do that. When the ball gets short of the line of scrimmage, get Damari Alston to lower his shoulder and get you a first down. Don't try to get cute with it. This is not the time. This is time for you to buckle down and figure out if you're going to finish this season as Auburn's football coach. Because you seem like you want to, but every single year, every single game, you do something that is a prevalent issue that seemed to not have gotten fixed since then. I'm going to continue to go off these stats, but going to go to my players to watch here. Again, going to Georgia's, it's the running backs for the offense. Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier both have been a very good running backs this year. Very shifty, very powerful backs who are hard to bring down. And again, if Auburn's defense keeps maintaining that bend but don't break mentality, it could work. But again, these running backs, this is the best tandem of backs Auburn has played all year, because I don't think Auburn has faced a tandem of backs that have been this prevalent and this powerful and this talented. Le'Veon Moss was a very good running back, but he kind of carried the load himself. These two are going to have a field day if Auburn allows them to. So these two are the guys to watch here for Georgia. And, of course, I also think building off of Georgia's offense here, Oscar Delp also the player to watch here. I watched Baylor absolutely demolish Auburn's secondary using a tight end. Oscar Delp is a very talented tight end. I remember his first years being there, being the backup to Brock Bowers. Dude was still legit. He is a legit talent of a tight end. So he's a guy I want to be able to watch here. And a guy who I think needs to be watching him the most is Xavier Atkins, who goes to my first Auburn player to watch in this one. Xavier Atkins has been on fire all season long. I think you should see a lot more of him. I think he is still the best play. He might be the best playmaker on the team right now. So, yeah, Xavier Atkins has been an absolute diamond in the rough of this Auburn football team. And I don't mean that in a bad sense to the defense. The defense look great, but Xavier Atkins has shined brighter than everybody. And I think Xavier Atkins being here makes his defense so much better. And again, I think the secondary plays a big role into this one. Colby Young, Zachariah Branch is going to be a big dude to watch out for here for this Georgia offense. They like to use Zachariah Branch on a lot of different motions and a lot of different positions, just getting him the ball and letting him run it up in space. And I don't know if there's a single dude on the team that can catch Zachariah Branch. Xavier Atkins might, but again, he got caught up. What should have been a pick six. But that's besides the point. Yeah, this Georgia offense has the talent to absolutely demolish anybody in their path. They've just not been able to find it just quite yet. And then lastly, of course, Jackson Arnold got to figure out what is up with Jackson Arnold's development. Is he going to develop, or is it time to put in Ashton Daniels? Is it time to, throw Deuce Knight to the Wolves? But if you have a dude who is not making those dude plays, then he's not the guy you should be putting out there at quarterback one. This is a big-time game for Jackson Arnold. If he's unable to play under the lights of Jordan-Hare Stadium, his home field, and he's not able to establish some kind of confidence level that is showing that he can play quarterback for anybody in the SEC, for anybody right now, got to have a big game out of him here. So those are my players to watch. Now to get into my prediction. Again, I looking at the stats, my heart wants me to pick Auburn, as it always does. It's a perfect storm brewing. 6:30 kick. Prayer Jordan-Hare was a 6:30 kick. Cam Newton is back in the stands of Auburn University. It's an orange out, so there's the hope and prayer that Auburn will run out of the tunnel in orange uniforms, at least just for me. The stats show me that Auburn defensively is better than Georgia. But the stats also tell me that Auburn's offense would not even suit up for a JV high school game. So, I'm not picking Auburn to win this game. Because I've not been shown anything that tells me that Auburn's going to walk out of that tunnel a changed football team. And that will not change until I see it. And I don't know if I will. Again, I don't think this is the game Hugh Freeze gets fired, but I definitely do believe if something has not changed at the end of that Missouri game, Hugh Freeze will not finish the season as Auburn's football coach. My prediction, Georgia will make it 9 straight, tying the record for longest streak in the rivalry at 9. 21-13. Auburn gets one singular offensive touchdown, and give Alex McPherson his cake as well, getting him a couple of field goals in that regard. So, yeah. Let me know what y'all think of my prediction in the comment section below. Let me know what your prediction is for Auburn versus Georgia this Saturday, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, which is the first time I think I've actually said the rivalry name in this episode. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, leave your thoughts. Again, I'm looking at the stats here, and I'm sorry, I kind of hit my space bar over it. Let me move my mouse. The stats are not showing me any good sign here. I mean, even if I look at the penalties per game, I didn't even talk about the penalties. Auburn is 129th in penalties per game, 8.8 penalties per game. Georgia tied for 21st with 4.4. Double the penalties Auburn is averaging per game. Not a disciplined football team. And until they show it, they're going to lose. They're going to lose football games. And I like to pride myself on being a massive, huge Auburn fan. Like, again, if I won the lottery, my first purchase is Auburn football season tickets. My second purchase, Auburn basketball season tickets. And I want so desperately to be able to walk out of the house Saturday evening and scream to the heavens that Auburn beat Georgia. But because of the lack of evidence that I have or have seen on the field, I do not believe Auburn is going to get the win over Georgia. And it is an infuriating thing to have to go through. It's insanity. It's legitimately insanity. But never fear. Basketball is near. So, excuse me, as we get ready to end out the show with the pick'ems, I do want to kind of alert y'all. I did spend some time, and I kind of made the pick'ems look a little better. It's no biggie. I'm very proud of it. It looked good. I didn't expect it to look as good as it did. But before we get there, of course, we're going to go to a quick little break. Outside this break, we're going to do our pick'ems. So stay tuned, and we're going to be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your College Loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
Of course, you can get that on thewarreport.com. Go to the shop and get your very own College Loop merch today. But, of course, it's not the best way to support the channel. You know, I would love it if all of y'all went out and bought the merch. But, you know, it's no biggie to me if y'all go buy the merch. What I care about is y'all supporting the channel in the best ways possible. I'm going to change it to blue so it fits the aesthetic a little bit better. By liking the videos, by commenting on the videos, let me know what your prediction is for Auburn versus Georgia. And honestly, if you think that Hugh Freeze makes it to the Missouri game in a loss here. But of course, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Of course, I'm over here looking at the live subscriber counter. Got one while recording. So 981 subscribers. We are 19 away to 1,000. Again, I want to thank all of you so very much for subscribing to the College Loop. So thank you all so much. Y'all are all a blessing to me. And I love every single one of y'all. All 981 of y'all out here. So, as we get ready to end the show, got a new overlay for y'all for the pick'ems. Got my top 10 games of the week. Of course, this one was a little difficult, but I think I did pick the best 10 games. So starting off, 11 a.m. kick. There's that overlay. Number 1, Ohio State travels to number 17, Illinois. And Ohio State's a massive favorite in this one, 14.5 points, 82%. But Illinois is a team that could put up a fight here. But I'm going to pick Ohio State in this one. I think that Illinois kind of showed themselves versus Indiana. I do not like the Illini in this one, so I'm going to take Ohio State to get the win here for Fox Noon kickoff. Up next, keep going to the SEC. Alabama, number 8 in the land, travels to Columbia, take on number 14, Missouri Tigers. Missouri is only a 3.5-point dog in this one. Alabama, not that big of a favorite, 63.4 by ESPN FPI. Games on ABC at 11 a.m. I so very want to pick the Missouri Tigers in this one. And I think Missouri is going to put up a big, big fight. But I think Alabama's going to win this one. I just don't see Missouri getting the upset here. And again, they might shock me. They might absolutely shock me. So I'm going to go Alabama, but you believe me, I'll wear a Missouri hat for a few hours. Don't worry about that for a second. But I think they can do it. I think they can do it, but I'm just not going to pick them for the show. Up next, going back to the Big Ten, number 7 Indiana travels to Eugene to take on the number 3 Oregon Ducks. Oregon only just a little over a touchdown favorite, 70% chance to win the game. CBS 2:30 kick. Of course, good old Brad and Gary on the call for this one. This one could get interesting. So Oregon, of course, has been tested. They've beaten Penn State, and they beat them in overtime. Indiana, though, has made some big wins. They killed Illinois a couple weeks ago. They have that dog mentality to them that I really enjoy about them. Kurt Cignetti would be an awesome coach if he ever wanted to leave Indiana. But I'm going to take the upset here. I'm going to take Indiana to get the win over Oregon in this one. I think it's a perfect storm for Indiana to get a massive win here. Of course, after they've been just absolutely disgraced by everybody talking about them, that they, last year that they shouldn't have been in the playoffs despite being one of the best teams in the country. I'm taking Indiana to take down the Ducks in this one. So go Hoosiers for this one. Now we got the Red River Shootout up next. Of course, that is Texas versus Oklahoma. No away game for both teams. Of course, playing in the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma, number 6 team in the country. They're only a pick'em game. The 1.5-point favorite. 2:30 kick on ABC. Texas actually FPI favorite. But again, I'm gonna be taking Oklahoma in this one. I do think that Texas has kind of proven that they're not the team that they were supposed to be. Again, same record as Auburn. Really the same look as Auburn in totality. And Oklahoma's already proven they can beat Auburn. So I think this is a way for them to prove that they can also beat Texas. So I'm going to take Oklahoma to win the Red River rivalry, Red River Shootout, whichever one you want to call it. So yeah, I'm taking OU in that one. Up next, Iowa State traveling to Boulder, take on the Colorado Buffaloes. Iowa State 2.5-point favorite, 2:30 kick on ESPN, also FPI favorite as well. Game could be close, but I think there's a lot of distractions going on again with Deion's health. So I don't want to say that was a factor here, but I'm going to take Iowa State. I think they've been a better football team this season. But yeah. Praying for Deion, because I know he's had a lot of issues health-wise with his legs. So praying for Deion, but I'm going to take Iowa State to win this game. Going back to the SEC, Arkansas traveling to Tennessee. And sorry, there's a Bill Belichick ESPN announcement. Okay. I thought we were about to have a live reaction to Bill Belichick getting fired. That didn't happen. Arkansas traveling to Neyland to take on number 12 team, the Tennessee Volunteers. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, and this is the first game pre-motorcycle wreck where Bob Petrino will be coaching for the Arkansas Razorbacks, or post-motorcycle wreck. as the head coach. Of course, he's revamped that defensive staff by firing everybody attached to the Sam Pittman era. 3:15 kick. Tennessee's a 12-point favorite. Tennessee's also an FBI favorite. I had to put this one here just for the Bob Petrino stuff. I think Tennessee gets a big win here over Arkansas. Arkansas has not proven to be a very good football team, hence why their coach is gone. And I can't really say that Bob Petrino brings me too much confidence surrounding the Arkansas Razorbacks. Up next, Florida traveling to take on Texas A&M Aggies. The Aggies are an 8-point favorite, 6 o'clock kick. A&M's also a 73% chance favorite in this one. ESPN game, Florida coming off a big upset over Texas. Can they keep it up? Absolutely not. Texas A&M's going to get the win here. I'm actually surprised that it's as close of a game as they see fit here. I think what you saw was Billy Napier trying to coach his way back off the hot seat. I don't see it working here with Texas A&M. Taking the Aggies in that one. Up next, going back to the Big Ten, which it's a lot of Big Ten and a lot of SEC because those are the only two competitive conferences right now. Again, one Big 12 game that was worth the toot. Oh, there's actually two games. Sorry, two. Michigan travels to SoCal, take on USC. USC is actually the favorite in this one, but I'm actually going to be rocking with the Michigan Wolverines here. I think they're the better football team, but I think it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun game to watch. So I'm going to be super stoked for that to be on a mini monitor while I'm watching the Auburn game. Maybe me getting these right can bring me some joy while I'm watching Auburn continue to disappoint me. Up next, going back to the SEC, 6:45 kick. South Carolina traveling to Baton Rouge, taking number 11 LSU. LSU 10-point favorite. LSU also FPI favorite, 73% chance favorite to win that. SEC Network, LSU, South Carolina. Of course, last year South Carolina got screwed out of this upset, but I don't see them getting revenge here. South Carolina has not been the team that they were last year. It's been a mess. I'm taking LSU in this one to kind of get back in their winning ways. Last game of the show, 9:15 kick. I will not be watching this one because it's so late, but it should be a fun one. Number 21, Arizona State traveling to take on the Utah Utes and Devin Dampierre. Utah 4.5-point favorite, also 70% chance to win it. I'm taking the Utes in this one. I can never pick against my Utes, man. I can't do it. It does not bring me joy to pick against Utah. They're probably one of my favorite Big 12 teams, which sucks because they were my Pac-12 team, and then all of my team. Listen, I'm an Auburn fan. I am a sole Auburn fan till I die. My gravestone will be orange and blue. Don't tell my fiance that, but I do like to pick teams to root for in other conferences. And here's the thing. My American Conference team was Cincinnati. My Big 12 team was West Virginia. And my Pac-12 team was Utah. Now all three of those teams are in the same daggum conference. So now it's like I don't know who to pick for that conference anymore. But Utah is one of my favorites. So I'm taking Utah to get the upset here. So that being said, that's going to do it for some College Loop podcast. Of course, thanks for watching the pregame show for the Deep South's oldest rivalry, where hopefully Auburn's able to pull off an upset. I would love to be wrong about this prediction. You know, if it's flip-flopped, if Auburn beats them 40-17 again in front of Cam Newton, that'd be awesome. It'd be the greatest thing ever. Believe me, I don't know what I would. I'd probably run to Auburn on foot to roll the trees if Auburn found a way to win this game. But again, I've not been proven that Auburn can do it. But, of course, fun day of college football regardless. So we're going to stay tuned for that. Of course, I'm Dylan Larck on Twitter. Find me on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck, DYLNLARCK. You can also find me right here on the College Loop Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Getting us to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. 19 away. Super stoked that we're so close. Closest we've ever been. Which, I mean, it's kind of the case whenever you're this high. But regardless, thank you all that have tuned in to the College Loop Podcast. Thank you all who have watched the College Loop Podcast. Thank you all to everyone who has subscribed to the College Loop Podcast or followed us on social media. Thank you all for the constant support. I've been dead to tuning in to the College Loop Podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.